This is Adam with Tied to Nature. For those that don't get out, can't get out, or can never get enough. It is April 25th. This is night 17 and about 6:45. Gotta quit walking. I'm just sinking even with snowshoes on. Snow's just horrible out here now. So location number 1, going into where I heard the saw-whet last night. I took a kind of a reading, so I know from this point I want to go about straight. Well, I want to go north, almost straight north, and I'm going to go back there and see what I can find for cavities and just kind of get familiar with it. So I'm not in the blind, completely in the blind when I go back there when it is dark out. I'm also going to be listening for the great gray owl, which would just be just up the road from here, and see what I can find. I got to be really careful. Bears are definitely out. Had tracks over by my place today that somebody found. They were just north of us the other day. So there's a couple bears out. Something I got to be considerate of when I'm out here by myself. I do got bear spray on. Try to make some noise while I'm going. So this isn't going to be perfect because I haven't found one yet. Well, it's this area that I'm in right now looking for a saw-whet. Let me kind of do this so I can show you. It's pretty open, which I don't know if is ideal, but there's this tree here. There's this one here. There's a couple others that are bigger like that. Those are the trees that I'm looking at. They're going to be the most likely ones that are going to have some kind of cavity in it. I'm kind of looking everywhere, but saw-whet, just a small owl cavity nester. So I'm looking for cavities in those bigger trees. Then I'm going to trees like this one, or maybe this is a better example. It's a little thicker, has a lot of branches, somewhere that they might be perched away. I have not been successful at finding cavities in any trees like this that are very much alive. This area I'm at, I'm looking for these dead trees of these aspens that are big and would be able to fit to, have a big cavity in it. I'll kind of start just basically tree to tree, see what I can find. So I went off my course just a little ways to an area where I walked through with my boys the other day, and we found some cavities. And this one seems like it has some promise. So it's right up here. And the reason I think it has promise is the last time we were here, you could tell that there was a nest, like not a twig-built, a grass-built nest kind of on the edge of it. And that has all been moved now. It's gone. Get out of the sun. So it looks like this has been tampered with. I'll try to post a picture of it here so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about, this one, because it almost has a ledge. So if something's living here, it got a nice balcony, beautiful view. It's just one possibility. I'm going to keep on looking at a couple others that I marked in here and see if it looks like they're being used. It's 8:20. I'm going to call it. Had great horned owls calling. No great gray yet. I walked around for a little bit, looked for cavities. I mentioned one that might be promising. The reason I'm calling it is snowmobilers just got back in, make a lot of noise. Nothing against them, but right in the area where I had the saw-whet and the great gray. And I think the last time that happened, I didn't get any calls. Too much disturbance, I think. So I'm going to go back towards my house and see if I have that little owl that darted down in front of my car yesterday calling. And maybe I'll see if that bear shows up as well. So call it a night, a little early, and that way I can get some sleep tonight and get ready for Monday night. Will be the next night. As soon as mean, I didn't go very far up the road. I have a pair of great gray owls. I got 2 owls right along this route that I do, close to section 1. One just flew into the woods. The other one is perched on a sign. So I might be staying out here now. It's right over there. And it's making a call. Something like that. I don't know if that was recording again. I'm having so much problems with this recording. I don't know if it's me or the GoPro. The owl was sitting right here on this dead tree. So, right there. There. It just flew off. There was a second one was calling behind it. So, it went right through this way. Trying to give it space. I'd like to get a recording of the call that it's making, kind of see where they're going, make sure that this is property that I still have access to. Good news is all of this area is owned by or managed by a friend, so I got access to this back here. You know, this is right at that time when I think Dan Hartman said his great grays get active as well. And so all of a sudden, I'm getting great grays. Let's see. Good, I'll turn this off and look around for a little bit. So I think both owls are doing this whoop, whoop sound. This is one of those times that I wish I had a tripod with me. I can do video closer. See if we can hear this. Oh, it's right above me. There it is. It's looking at us. It didn't fly too far. I'm going to give it its distance. I snuck up on that one, didn't even realize it was there with this tree behind me blocking. There it goes again. So it's going towards the other one that's calling. And I'm going to stop there for tonight. But it's nice that there's 2 in this area. They're calling. And I stopped my recorder. I didn't think I had it with me. It was in my pocket. And so, heck, I'm gonna. That's nice that they're back. I know a call to listen for. I know what it means, or not what it means, but what it sounds like. And so, since I'm still out here, I haven't heard the snowmobilers. I might go listen for that saw-whet. Or I might go home. We'll see. And look for the owl. It's been it was pretty close to my place. Okay, it's 8:50. Things are calling. Back behind me, great grays, probably the ones I just saw. To my left, stupid snipes, and something else that I don't know. The spacing was too far for a saw-whet. Don't think it was a pygmy. I wish the robins over here would shut up. Great horned owl calling somewhere. Trying to decide which way to go first to listen. I'm not sure what I got going on now. I don't know if you can hear that. I have 2 great grays, one on either side of the road, hooting back and forth. It's a little distance from where I saw the other two. I mean, so they could have flown back and come up the road. I don't know if you can hear that. That's that territorial hoot. There goes the other one. Got my recorder in hand. Hopefully it's picking up some of this. I'm not too far from it. It's pretty close here. I can't see enough because it's dark, but it's just right over in these trees. And this definitely answers my question. Years past, I've just been too early for gray grays. Okay, these two are territorial hoots, different sides of the road, and they're moving. So you can tell that as they're hooting, they're flying different ways. I mean, I parked clear up here because this is where the sound was coming from, and then I had to walk clear back there, and now it's even further back. So I don't know what's going on. I'm under the assumption that these are two different owls than I saw before. Just because, I mean, we're maybe a half mile from where they were before, and I followed them back in another quarter mile. I mean, they fly so they can cover that ground, but very different types of hooting. The other two are calling around with the other call that I mentioned, and these two very much more territorial hoots back and forth. Again, I can't interpret that, but very different from what the last two are doing. If that's the case, that's 5 separate owls that I've heard or seen in 3 days. Great grace. So what I got to do is go back through my route. You know, I've been back at the 4th between 1 and 6 because the other areas were so dead. But if great grays are calling like this now, starting to pick up, I need to start hitting those every night, and then wait for the certain calls, and then walk in to find the nest. So basically, I can't remember exactly what it was. Kind of probably like what I was hearing earlier, you know, a begging or a, you know, hey, I've set up a nest call. Looks like it's going to be a late night. So just as I was driving away, I could see the silhouette of the great gray in the tree on the left. And it sit there for a second, and then it flew across towards where the other great gray was calling from. So maybe it is the same two. I don't speak owl fluently. Okay, out at location 6, I stopped at locations 2, missed 3, 4, 5, 6, plus a stop or 2 in between, just for a minute or two, just to see if there's anything calling. Nothing I can hear. A bunch of snipes, the Wilson snipes. They kind of have that boreal owl call to them, and so I'm getting a lot of that. Location 1. Nothing, but you can see the moon and Venus right behind me. They're lined up tonight. Anyways, back to location 1. Very quiet now. No saw-whet, no gray grays. Robins have stopped. So 9:45. Gonna call it a night. I made one last stop just where I had the 2 great grays, actual visual, and still calling, same distance where I left them, the whoop call. which I think Dan Hartman said go in and find the nest when they're doing that. So I want to say that's 4 great grays tonight, just because of the distance. It was a half mile apart, different calls they were making. I can't say for sure, you know, I'd have to spend the whole time out there, you know, to really get an idea if it's 4 different owls or not, but it just appears that way due to the distance and the different calls they were making. Great evening. That's 2 great days in a row, and I'm excited to see what today's Saturday, so don't